This is The Relaxed Male, a show that comes to you each week helping men to remove the nice guy from their life so they can actually live their life on their terms. Join the host, certified coach Brian Goodwin, as he helps men step out of their heads and become free from the thoughts that bind them. Hey man, hello and welcome to Relaxed Male. I'm your host, Brian, and I am a certified men's coach, and I am here to help y'all to understand what's going on in your mind. Why are you suffering through the whatever problems of life you're having? And more specifically, we're focusing in on men who are going through a divorce. And why does that divorce make life so hellacious for so many men? Now, they want to point a lot of fingers at laws and things like that. And yeah, I'll admit that there are laws and there are court systems that seem to be more pointed towards the benefit of the women than as the men. But we're going beyond what the courts actually have to say. I'm here with this podcast, helping y'all to understand what's going on in your mind. Why it does, the ex-wife and her little sneer and her little jibes at you make you so angry. We're talking about those types of things, talking about the little games that she plays and why she plays them and how you can actually overcome those. And one of the big things that happens is our frustration. But before we get into all that, I want to say thank you guys for listening. We're still growing. We're going up and to the right. Every single week we put out a new episode. It seems like we get more and more listeners. And I keep sitting back with my own thoughts in my head. And it's interesting to watch how I'm thinking through this, going, all right, so what am I going to do? Am I going to screw something up? And is this going to fall apart any day now? And that is exactly what you don't want to think, because, things are going to, go up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's just, our brain doesn't like to be on the summit so much, because it thinks it's always on the lookout for what the next bad thing is, because we were raised up like that. So the fact that I am able to see our numbers continue to grow, our numbers continue to increase, and that you guys are sharing the information out is great. So welcome to all the new guys. And hopefully by the end of this episode, I have earned enough of a trust where you actually will share this episode out and maybe even hit the subscribe or follow button and be able to get this episode every Thursday as it comes in. Now, last week I didn't put an episode out, and that was just because I had so much on my plate and there was a lot more stuff going on. And so, yeah, it didn't happen quite as I wanted it to, but sometimes, sadly, life gets too much. I am a grandpa now, so I'm trying to get to see the kiddo as much as possible. And it's one of those things. It's just trying to fit everything into life. And I'm still actually playing oh my gosh, how am I supposed to be acting outside of a truck? Because I was in a truck for 12 years. And now for the past 3.5, I've been out of a truck, and I'm just kind of, actually this is the end of February. So we're now at about the 4-month mark. So it's like, what do we do? How do I do this? So want to talk today about frustration, because this is something I have been facing myself, especially here recently, because I have my new responsibilities that I have. I also have the responsibilities I have for the site and for Relaxed Male. And I want Relaxed Male to take off, and I want it to become successful desperately, because this is my baby. I want my dreams to come true. I want my services to be able to be out there for you men who are struggling with divorce, struggling with trying to find their place and their footing in the world. I really can't put my 100% of my attention into y'all while I'm helping somebody else. But at the same time, I have to help somebody else right now, because I'm not bringing in enough guys yet to be able to do that. So you see, there's that little balance of who do I help? What do I do? And I'm so incredibly grateful that I have a friend who wanted to help me grow and help me become better, and has pushed me and keeps going, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And is always throwing a little bit of something else on my plate, and I'm going, dude, my plate can't handle any. Oh, wait a minute. I can handle this. I got this. Oh, wait a minute. You're putting more stuff on my plate. Oh my gosh, man. It's not going to hold. Hey, look, it held. And I'm still always surprised every time he comes up with a new weird idea that he wants to try. And I'm like, well, I've got your social media and 2 websites now, and I'm trying to write blogs every day for a website and this, and now you're bringing on all this other stuff, and and it's all, I keep going, oh my God, what am I doing here? How am I going to have time for my stuff? And it happens. I don't know how to describe it, but it happens. And so, but that time where I'm wigging out about it and I'm really focused in and I've lost my thought, I've lost the control of my mind, that's when I start feeling all this frustration come pouring in. I start feeling the pressure of all the sides and all the little projects that my friend has, and then all the projects that I'm trying to do. And then on top of that, I've got my wife who is sitting there going, hey, give me attention, dadgummit. I want to be known. I want you to know that I'm still alive here. And so I'm trying to pay attention to my wife. And then I've got the 2 kids, and one of the kids just had a child. And I love this little girl. She is such an amazing little thing. And she's got all 10 fingers and toes. And she is just this little froggy looking baby. And she is so fun to just watch and to hear the stories that my daughter talks about on her adventures of going through life with this new precious little baby. And oh my gosh, all this fun, all the stuff that happens. But you want to, all this stuff you want to do, and there's other stuff you're trying to get done. And you keep telling yourself you only have 24 hours in a day. So how are you going to get it all done? And there's ways. I know that there's ways that you can get it done. I've seen people. I have the same amount of hours in a day as Alexander the Great has. We still have 24 hours in a day. And even if the earth is slowing down or speeding up, whichever one it is, it's the changes in it have been so minuscule that second to 2 seconds difference doesn't make a difference. So, first off, when you're feeling pressure, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling just like the walls are closing in, examine why you're feeling all the pressure. A lot of times, like especially if you're going through a divorce or you just freshly got divorced, and you're sitting there, you're trying to run around, only get allowed, 4 hours of visitation, yet your boss is also holding your job over your head, stating that if you're not at work on the weekend, he's going to let you go, and yada, yada, yada. And how are you supposed to continue to live while you're making only you're only living off of a quarter of what you were living off of before the divorce? And your wife and kids are running off with the rest of it. And how are you supposed to live off of that little bit amount? So you've got the pressure or the financial pressure, and then you're trying to make time to see your kids. And then you've got, what are you supposed to do with yourself? All this stuff piles up and it adds on, and it can get to be a huge amount of pressure. And then you go off and examine that your ex-wife is actually out having a good time. She's gone off and is, fixing to go on a vacation to Jamaica or someplace, while you're barely you're eating ramen noodles out of a tin full bowl because you can't afford water. Look at where the pressure is, and understand where that pressure is coming from. Is it from the fact that you're losing a quarter of the money? No. On all reality, it's not. It seems like it is. And that's because we're wanting to put our blame onto something that is out there that we can actually have an excuse for why we're not making the money, making the funds, making the time that we want to have. Let's say it is a lack of time. Let's kind of look at that. And then we'll go to lack of money. Is it actually a lack of time? Well, no, not really. I bet you if you're looking at at your typical day, if you were to grab a notebook and you were to write down, all right, I am going to be at work from 8 to 5, get an hour off for lunch, and then all the time that you have from the time you wake up to the time you hop in the car, how much time are you driving from home to work? How much time are you driving from work to the restaurant if you're eating out, and going from eating at the restaurant back to work, and then from work back to home, or work to the restaurant and eating, or work to the second job, or work to wherever, and then back to the house. And then when you're at the house, you're sitting and you're doing, what are you doing and how much time are you taking? And if you were to document every minute of the day, you would see, you work a good deal. You sleep a good deal, but there's still several hours in between eating and sleeping that actually are times that you can actually be doing some stuff. This is where the desire to come up with your own thing really comes into play. That's something I think, and I'm right now in me helping my friend out, I'm realizing exactly how short-handed the world is. And I actually have to say that I'm in a guilty kind of way saying, well, I think some of that might be my problem, because us coaches have started showing people what is possible. What are we able to do? What can I do to help men and women to be able to make it out of the grind, make it out of that boring 9-to-5er, and live life on their terms? And men are actually going out there doing it. Now, some guys are finding out that their life on their terms is working a 9-to-5 job. They love the fact that they can get up in the morning. They know what they've got to do the following day. And when they get done, they head home and poof, voila, well, they're done. They've completed their day. There's not a whole lot of extra brain cells being burnt. It was great. So lack of time doesn't necessarily have to be it. And if you have your own business, then knowing how to be fully productive is great. That's where Monday Hour 1 comes into play. And all of a sudden, you can get a heck of a lot of stuff done. You can get an 8-hour day done in like 4 hours. And if you really learn how to be focused and press it down, you could actually probably even turn an 8-hour day into 3 hours, get that done, hammered out, and sent down the road. And then you got the rest of the day to do whatever you want. And you're going, whoa, that's possible? Yeah. You work it on your own allows for things to be a whole lot more open, a whole lot more possible. But do you really want to do that? So what if you do have a lack of time? Say you look at it and you have found from the driving to and from work and all that, you get home, you spend 30 minutes eating, and from that you immediately go to bed, you wake up in 5 hours and off you go to start your whole cycle again. Well, then you might want to start re-examining other details in your life, because there's a lot more frustration and a lot more financial problems that are going on. If you can't afford where you're living, then you might want to start looking at living in a cheaper area. But I want to be closer to my kids. I know you do. But sometimes being closer to your kids just isn't possible. Or it is, and you've got to give something else up. Life is a choice. You have decisions. You have to cut away one thing versus another. And that's how the world runs. So what is it? The lack of time, if you have a lack of time, most of the time it is because of a lack of discipline and a lack of time management. When you can actually get those under control, you'll find out that you have a whole lot more time available. Now, if you're working for somebody, they require that you are there from 8 to 9. Okay, maybe you change the field into a purely commission-based sales position, to where you go off, that if you make 10 sales a day, you're mint, you're good. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do that you can actually get further in, you can get more time and more value out of the time that you're applying. than if you are, just going in, punching the clock. With all the pressure that's going on, say you're with the divorce and life itself, and then just where you're living and everything else, you feel that pressure going, and you feel you're talking to your ex-wife, and she is just nag. She's just going after you just left, right, and center, and just don't know what to do. How do you stop from being mad? Well, first off, you got to understand who you're being mad at. And honestly, you're not mad at your ex-wife. You're not mad at your boss. You're not mad at the dude who just cut you off and slammed on his brakes, and you came within just, put your fingers that close together, that close from taking his bumper out. You're not mad at them. You're mad at the thoughts that you're having. You're mad at the fact that the guy who cut you off and slammed on the brakes. You're mad at the fact that you almost damaged your car. And you want to blame somebody for that. And so you're throwing your emotions, your energy, your excess energy towards this guy who doesn't even know you're alive. He doesn't know you from Adam. He could see you tomorrow, same place, same time. You wouldn't know who he was, and he wouldn't know who you were. So we spend a lot of our time just taking our anger and our frustrations out on people who don't matter. All right. Even your ex-wife, if she is just giving you hell and you're mad about it, well, again, you're getting mad over somebody who honestly doesn't matter to you anymore. Why is she all of a sudden that important to you that you need to get mad because she called you a loser? Why do you need to feel that your boss has so much power over you that he is allowed to make you mad? You have all these choices. You can choose to get mad at what your wife says, or you can choose to just, okay, she's an idiot. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's frustrated in her own world, and she needs to feel like she has control over something. So she wants to make you mad. Your boss just had his ass reamed, so he's got to feel like he's justified on something, so he's got to ream yours. We don't know what the other side's doing. So when they act and we don't know why, we get frustrated with the fact that we don't know why. But frustration comes from you allowing yourself to lose control over your life. A lot of times when it comes with time constraints and we're frustrated over our lack of time, that's because we've lost control of our ability to control our time. And yes, we can control our time. We can negotiate, and we can not negotiate. We can work. We can finagle our time. We can choose what we want to spend our time and our efforts and our energy on. What is it? Well, that really just depends on what you want to spend your time and energy on. If it seems like it's a good idea for you to go off and get mad and throw a fit over at what your ex-wife said, all right, don't see why it's so important to you. But, you do you, boo. But the main problem that you're running into here is the fact that you are getting mad about the thoughts that you are having about the circumstances. The circumstance is your wife said you are horrible in bed. Let's use that one. That striking at a man's sexual prowess always gets them riled up. And they may get happy, they may get sad, they may get depressed, they may mope, pout, whatever. But that always incites a reaction in 99% of all men. Why? Because we like to think that we know how to utilize our equipment, and we know how to manipulate the wife's equipment enough to where we make her happy. We give her pleasure. We give her a release. Yet, after 10 years of marriage and y'all have gotten divorced, she says something like that. The fact that she said that, you are either if you're getting angry at it, you're because you agree that you didn't know how to make your wife feel right, or B, it is because you're seeing some type of similarity with what you agree with. Something in there you are affirming with yourself. And so what she said and she called out, you're in a way agreeing with it. You're seeing some truth in what she's saying. And that's actually what pisses you off. Because if it was fully, completely not true, it wouldn't bother. You'd be like, this dipwad doesn't know diddly squat. But because they got really close to the truth to where you're afraid people might believe you or believe them, that's where our frustration, our anger comes. And we get frustrated over the fact that we have no control over that. So how do you alleviate so much pressure and stress from your wife, from boss, from everything? Well, there's there's a lot of different ways, but I want to talk about 4 different ones. Or 3 different ones. I got to learn to count someday, that help you get past the pressure of what it is. First off, understand that life is 50-50. All right. If you think doing any of this is going to suddenly allow your life to be stress-free, you're lying to yourself. All right. Your life is always going to have peaks of pleasure, and it's going to have valleys and troughs of pain. All right. Our life is 50-50. And the proof of that is most people go, I don't know. I think it's closer to 80-20. No, actually it's not. People who think that it is 80-20 are the ones who run around being miserable because they're not allowing the full 50% pain to happen. They're denying 30% of that pain. And denying yourself the pain is what causes so much suffering, which just sounds weird, I know. But yet, look at anybody who is out to try to make themselves happy all the dang time. They wind up being positively miserable. Why do you think your ex-wife left you? Because I need to go find myself. No, you knew who you were when you married. But all of a sudden, you're not happy. You believe that she believes that she needs to be happier more. She thinks she needs to be an 80-20 person. And so she has gone off and blown her whole world up. And because of that, that's why she ends up being unhappy. She starts doing so many wild and stupid stuff that you think you knew she wouldn't ever do before. She's going out every night. She's going out drinking till 2:00 in the morning. She's not getting home, or she's getting home drunk, and she's had 4 different guys within the past year. That's because she is unhappy, and she doesn't know why she is unhappy. And the reason why she is unhappy is because of the thoughts that she's having about her circumstances. So how do you alleviate your pressure? Because you can't do anything about your ex-wife. You can't do anything about your boss. You can't do anything about controlling other people, because you can only control those 2 things: your thoughts and your actions. So what actions do you take when you are suffering from thoughts that are driving you down and making you feel frustration and anger and resentment and all those other negative emotions? First thing first, talk to your band of brothers. Make sure you have that strong 4th pillar. All right. Have that man's community. Have it built up. Have it good and strong. Have 5 to 10 men that you can talk to but you do talk to on a weekly basis. You see them every single day. Or at the best, every week, and you're talking to them and you're sharing your thoughts and your fears and your excitements and your worries, positives and negatives. Because when those guys are together, when you are with your band of brothers, all that negative energy that you have is getting leached out of you, handed over to the guys. They're taking it, they're messing with it, and they're giving it back to you as positive energy. So talk to your band of brothers. Always have those band of brothers. Find a good group of noble men. Places to find noble men. It's not perfect, but it's a good place to start. Churches. You don't have to go to a church and buy everything that the preacher says. No one said you have to believe everything a preacher says. You can go to church for your own selfish reason, so that you can find men that you agree with and that you can hang out with. Now, say the pressure has gotten, maybe your wife pulled something absolutely stupid and has gone out after you, and you've gotten anger and frustration and resentment and everything like that, and it's just building up, and oh my God, you just want to, you're ready to strangle somebody. You know what that's like, right? You know how frustrated life can become. Well, what do? Well, there's a couple things that you actually can do that will help you to be able to maintain, especially if it's in an emergency situation. You go to the closet, you grab a baseball bat. If you don't have a baseball bat, go to town, buy a baseball bat. All right. Doesn't matter if it's wooden, probably better if you got aluminum if you're really freaking mad. But a wooden baseball, if you know how to hit with a wooden baseball, then do it. That way you don't bust the bat. But anyhow, go out into the country someplace. Take that baseball bat and find a big, solid tree. If it's a fruit tree, side note, if it's a fruit tree, even better. But find a tree. Now, you go up to that tree, you take that baseball bat, and you just yell at the top of your lungs, and you start waylaying on that tree. You start whomping up on it, and you start beating on it with that baseball bat. You start screaming out all your frustrations and hate and anger and everything that you have. If you can knock the bark off of it, by damn, knock the bark off of it. But beat that tree up. And you're actually doing a service to the tree, which is what's really interesting about this. You take that baseball bat and you start whomping up on that tree, especially if it is a fruit tree. You beat that tree up with a baseball bat, it's going to actually make more fruit next year. And whichever farmer or bear or whatever comes by and sees all that fruit, they'll be extra happy because you lost your cool and you whooped up on that tree with a baseball bat. The third way is to seek counseling. If talking to your band of brothers and beating up on a tree doesn't work, maybe there's something that's happening back in the back that is causing your frustration. Maybe there is an old psychological reflex that's going on, and it would help if you go and talk to a counselor. You don't have to talk about, you have an idea of when you're talking to a counselor, if they're going to be someone who's on your side, or if they just are out to try to make sure you are a horrible, terrible dude. And there are, sadly, because counselors are just humans too. And they've got their own lines of thoughts, own lines of being that they have to mess with also. And when that's the case, they're going to make mistakes, and you're not going to be personally aligned with all counselors out there. Now, if you're doing counseling or if you've done counseling and you say, I know I'm okay. It's just, I've got a lot of crap going on. I don't know what steps to take. I need just a little bit of a help, somebody to bounce ideas off of. Hey, come talk to me, man. That's what coaches do. When you're up against a problem, up against a boundary, up against a barrier of some sort, and you're not sure what direction you need to turn, that's where the coaches come in. You sit down and it's like, yeah, no, I'm trying to get this business up and going, and I don't know where in the heck to turn. Well, coaches help you bring that thought line of thinking around. Help you change your line of thinking so that when it's time for you to actually start coming up with ideas, you're going to be able to come up with those ideas. You'll have them lined out. You'll have them set. But to be able to do that, you have to set up a time. You have to reach out and talk to me. Our consultation calls, our mini coaching sessions that I have don't cost you anything. I'm always happy to sit down and try and coach you on whatever issue you need to be coached with. So what's the next step? Well, the next step is go talk to your band of brothers. Next step is create a plan. Step out that plan. Get some goals. Make some goals. Find a purpose. Read books. Get some exercise. All of those things. Getting all 4 of your pillars of a relaxed male built up and strong and solid will keep you from becoming overly frustrated. It's not going to keep you from being frustrated. Like I said, life is 50-50. Accept the negative with the positive, and you'll be a lot happier a lot more times because you're allowing for the negative to happen. You're not resisting that negative. You're not resisting the bad stuff. You're just allowing. And when you can allow the negative to happen, the good just blooms. Because that's just, again, because of the nature of men. We take the negative energy and we convert it into positive energy. So guys, if you want help, getting coached is a great way to do it. I can help you. All you have to do is just go over to relaxedmale.com/coach or /coaching, and we'll get you there. I've already got my, if you come across anything weird or funky on my site, let me know. I just got my site changed. I just changed hosts because my last host that I'd been using, I think almost 10 years now, has decided, never mind, they don't want my business anymore, and they want to go ahead and just crank the price up to an exorbitant amount. And I was just like, nah, we're not playing this game anymore. So I decided to go ahead and just let them go, and I'm going to use a different host. So guys, just shoot me an email, Brian with a Y at relaxmail.com. If you just want to talk, I can talk to you that way. I have a lot of other different ways that I can communicate with you. All you have to do is when you reach out to me, just say, hey, I listened to the podcast and I heard you on this episode. And that way I know, hey, I've got a real dude. Because I've had a lot of people go, I'll listen to your podcast. I would like to be on there. So what do you do? I'm a men's erectile dysfunction expert. It's like, yeah, okay. I know guys have erectile dysfunction. I know so many young men have erectile dysfunction, but my show is not about erectile dysfunction. We may cover it sometime down the road, but right now, no. But anyhow, guys, real quick before we go, thank you again for listening. If anything on this show resonated with you, it rang a bell, it's rang true to you, share this out with your friends, your family, your brothers, and anybody else out there who you know who could benefit from hearing what I'm saying. Even if you have a sister, your sister could take all this information too and apply it to her own life. It's just she has to be able to be okay with me speaking dude, because it happens. All right, I'm a dude. I speak dude. I don't speak chick. So share this out. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. You take a screenshot of the artwork and share it. Post it up onto Instagram if you want. If you're on Gab or Parler or Getter or any of the other sites out there, even what is the new one? There's a new liberal one out there that I just came across that was that's a little different. So, but share the site out. Share this out with all the different men in your life and let them know, man, you can find peace in turmoil. And it's amazing when it happens because you almost feel like you have a superpower. And if you're willing to go through just a little bit of discomfort, you find that happiness that you're after. So guys, with that, I want to thank you again for listening. You have a great and wonderful rest of the night, rest of the day, rest of the week, or whatever. I'm talking here at night, so it's so, but anyhow, man, I love y'all. Take care. See you next week. Till then, bye.